Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and the winner for the poll for today's video was about how the May local elections might pan out in the UK and what it might mean for a Brexit message. So next month there are going to be two important sets of elections. I mean, they're all important, but this time, for once, maybe people in general in the UK will see them as such. We have the local elections at the start of the month, and then at the end of the month we have the European elections. Now, lots of people are wanting to see a clear Brexit message being sent to the government with these local elections. Now, it's certainly true that because of these elections not being seen as important in themselves by most people, they are often used to send a message to the national parliament. Now, I was reading an article about local elections by a Conservative candidate in 1982 was saying that as they were canvassing, the Falklands War started, and what he was getting comments on the doorstep saying that they weren't going to vote for him because Margaret Thatcher was allowing British territory to be invaded. But then a few weeks later, the fleet had been dispatched, fighting had started, and they were saying that they would now vote for him because Margaret Thatcher was standing up for us. And he said all he could think of was, none of this has anything to do with the bins. And so it generally goes. Local elections are usually a minefield for the party in government. It's not. Most people don't vote based on local issues. Some do. An awful lot do not. And the longer a party has been in government, the more of a bloodbath for them it usually is. So regardless of the Brexit situation, you would probably expect Labour to profit in this year's local elections anyway, and for the Conservatives to lose out. Now, some local elections took place last year, and the Conservatives certainly did lose out, though UKIP were the massive losers. Labour, Liberal Democrats and the Green Party all increased the number of councillors. This year's elections will be larger, but the results telling us anything about Brexit? I mean, can we read anything into them? The thing is that as a Labour supporter, obviously I'll be hoping that my party sweeps the floor. But it wouldn't necessarily send a powerful Brexit message if that happened. Even without Brexit, you might expect Labour to gain a lot of seats due to the aforementioned local elections being used to give the government party a bloody nose. It doesn't even tell you anything about the prospects for a general election, as there's no real correlation there either. It's not uncommon for government parties to do badly in local elections as a warning, but then still be returned to government in general elections where people adopt a very different voting behaviour. The other issue is that Jeremy Corbyn is still not really fully behind a people's vote. Every time he gives a speech, he always talks about it to rapturous applause, but it's always as an option, a last resort, if you will. He's still backing his Brexit plan, which doesn't get that same wholehearted applause from his audiences. In other words, although everyone, or almost everyone in Labour, from simple members like myself, through to activists on the streets, to councillors and MPs, want Labour to be the party that promises to scrap Brexit, or at least insist on a public vote no matter what, the leader is not quite of that mind yet. So a local election bonanza for Labour would say nothing about Brexit, but if the Liberal Democrats and the Green Party make serious gains, that might well be interesting, because these parties have been talking about little else other than ending Brexit. Even the Green Party, which naturally campaigns on environmental issues very strongly, spends more time battling Brexiteers than polluters in Parliament. If Labour gain a little, but the real anti-Brexit parties gain a lot, then that might indicate a real demand for a public vote. An indication which would be all the stronger if the number turning out for these elections is much higher than normal. So what I would be looking for is a much larger turnout. And although, yes, I want Labour to do well in the local elections, what would be most interesting from a Brexit point of view, unless Labour suddenly turn around and get fully, properly committed behind a public vote, would be for the Liberal Democrats and the Green Party to profit there. But on the other hand, the danger is that apathy strikes as usual and moderates don't go and vote. And that, of course, concentrates the Brexit vote, who very likely will. Their campaigns are already in full swing, with MPs still complaining that we don't yet have the regulations needed to effectively stop all the dishonest and illegal social media campaigns. Speaking of which, there's apparently a real cracker on this issue on tonight's Channel 4 News, so I may have to give that a watch tonight and report on it tomorrow. But anyway, that's what I think we may or may not be able to tell from the local elections. The bottom line is it all depends, but I think large gains for Liberal Democrats and Green Party would say something. Massive turnout would also say something. If those things are absent, we probably can't read anything. But let me know what you think anyway. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe for further content, click the bell notification as well. Until next time, I'll see you later.